You're watching VinylicPumaGaming. While there are a lot of great side quests in Borderlands 2, there are quite a few frustrating, disappointing, and overall just bad side quests in the game. Whether it's a tedious escort quest, bad item or weapon scaling in Ultimate Vault Hunter mode, or quests that are just difficult or anxiety-inducing, I think the following quests are going to be some of the worst in Borderlands 2. Before we start, it's worth mentioning that like last time with the best side quest video, this video will feature some opinions of what some of the worst side quests are. That said, I think there are quite a few on here that many of us can agree are definitely considered to be terrible by most people. However, if you don't see what you think are one of the worst side quests in this game, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's good, it's just that I had a lot of lousy quests to choose from. But without further ado, these are what I think are the top 10 worst side quests and side missions in Borderlands 2, starting now. Number 10. Faster Than the Speed of Love and Tier Battle The Death Race. Okay, so I know these are two different but similar quests from entirely different DLCs. Both of these quests consist of a race across the map to various points in either a Bandit Technical or a Sand Skiff. Faster Than the Speed of Love is from the Captain Scarlet DLC, while Tier Battle Death Race is from the Torg's Campaign of Carnage DLC. And of the two, Faster Than the Speed of Love is more frustrating than Death Race is. Now, the problem with both of these quests, though, is having to deal with the obnoxious amount of enemies that you have to skillfully dodge. And even then, most of these enemies are equipped with guns, and they will shoot the ever-living crap out of your Bandit Technical or Sand Skiff. And there's nothing more frustrating than having either of these races be down to the wire time-wise, and then all of a sudden, your vehicle gets blown up by some idiot bandit running into you or shooting you with their gun. Now, keep in mind too that Wormwater and the Badass Crater are massive maps, so if you do fail, it's usually a long walk to a catch-a-ride so that you can get back to the quest and basically start over. This is especially the case in Wormwater, since there's a possibility that you may get your Sand Skiff destroyed in a remote area. I would say the Death Race from the Torg DLC does have its upsides though. For each race you complete, you do get some Torg tokens, which can be used to purchase weapons from the Torg vending machine. Faster Than the Speed of Love, on the other hand, doesn't really provide you with anything that's particularly useful. All you get is some money and some experience if you aren't at maximum level. Ultimately, both of these quests can be frustrating, especially since they require near-perfect execution. Number 9. Egg on Your Face. So Egg on Your Face is a collectathon quest from the Big Game Hunt DLC for Borderlands 2. What the player is supposed to do is collect various eggs throughout one of the largest maps in the entire game. None of these eggs are marked, and it's very possible that you'll cover the entire area of Hunter's Grotto, and you'll end up short with like 21 or 22 out of the 23 total eggs found. As you can imagine, being in this situation would be very infuriating. Once you've completed all of that, you have to go and kill a mini-boss drifter enemy known as Arizona. Like all drifters, Arizona isn't particularly hard or anything as long as you have a shotgun. But if you have conventional weapons like pistols, SMGs, assault rifles, and maybe even sniper rifles, you may find that Arizona is going to be pretty difficult, especially since the rest of a drifter's body has fairly high damage resistance and health. Sometimes when you kill Arizona, you get the chance of receiving the Elephant Gun as a loot drop. For those of you that are up on your sniper rifles, the Elephant Gun is possibly one of the worst sniper rifles in all of Borderlands 2. Not just because it's a bolt-action sniper rifle, but it's also a scopeless sniper rifle with relatively low accuracy and atrocious fire rate. As a result, the Elephant Gun is a waste of time to farm for, and one of the major reasons you would even do the Egg on Your Face quest is so you could get Arizona as a permanently spawning enemy, so you could farm him for the Elephant Gun. Other than the chance to get an Elephant Gun for killing Arizona, you just get experience points and money for turning this quest in. So basically, Egg on Your Face is basically a pointless collectathon quest where you don't get anything of significant value for completing it. And you have to deal with the frustration of not knowing which specific drifter egg you missed. Number 8. Statuesque. So I mentioned this quest in my best side quest video while I was talking about the Home Movies quest. On the one hand, while I like the ultimate result that this quest brings, I don't actually particularly like doing this quest. And this is because Statuesque is at its core an escort quest, and it's very difficult as a result. So what you do is you receive the quest from the bounty board, you go to the Overseer, activate it, and go through Opportunity and destroy various statues. You will need to have the Overseer or Constructor bot destroy 4 statues, and if possible, you're going to want to keep the Overseer's health above 50%. Because if it goes below that, you will fail the optional objective. Now, that said, Maya's restoration skill can restore some of the Overseer's health if it gets too low. So if you do plan on doing this quest, you may want to bring Maya. The only reason you would do this quest is to get the unique head customizations that you receive as quest reward. While Gage and possibly Krieg's look pretty cool, I've never liked the look of Axton's, Maya's, Zero's, or Salvador's head customization that you receive. They sort of look goofy in my opinion, and while you may find that you like them, I just have a different opinion. Now, there's also no point to doing this quest in later difficulties, since the only reason you would do it is solely for the head customization you would get. Or maybe you would want 100% completion if you're a completionist. I guess you might also want to see the statues being destroyed too, which I will admit is pretty cool and pretty funny. Otherwise, this is something that you should really do just once in normal mode, and avoid at all costs in every other difficulty. Number 7. I like my monsters rare. Now this quest is fairly similar to a quest from the base game called Hyperion Contract number 873. Hyperion Contract 873 is actually a fairly easy quest, as you are just supposed to kill bandits. You can also complete some optional objectives like kill so many enemies with fire, shock, or something else. However, I like my monsters rare as obnoxious, as it requires the player to kill very specific variants of various enemies that you can come across through the entire Big Game Hunt DLC. Specifically, you have to kill 8 pink Boroks, 8 tailless scalions, 6 two-legged drifters, 5 albino SKAGS, and slag elemental spores. More often than not, you're not going to encounter these rarer enemies, so basically completing this quest revolves around luck, and that can be very frustrating, especially when you consider the quest rewards. Now, in my personal opinion, some of the skin customizations you can receive for completing this quest are awesome. Axton's Patient skin, Maya's Wrath, Gage's Elusive, Zero's Vigilant, Salvador's Wise, and Krieg's I'm the Only One Left are some pretty good looking skins. So you could maybe rationalize that this makes completing this quest worth it, or you may feel like you have to suffer through the pain of completing this specific quest. Otherwise, there isn't really too much to this quest. You just have to find some of these enemies. It sucks, but if you can find them, at the very least, you do get a really cool looking skin. Number 6. Medical Mystery X-COM-MUNICATE. This quest isn't really too bad on normal mode, and I might actually recommend that you do it if you're playing on normal. However, it becomes much more difficult in both True and Ultimate Vault Hunter mode, and the reward that you get for completing this quest isn't really worth it on those difficulties. This quest is a part of a trilogy of quests given by Doc Mercy, and you have to have previously completed Do No Harm, which involves meleeing a random Hyperion goon, and Medical Mystery, which involves killing Doc Mercy, and once you've done that, you can finally start this quest. So, after you've killed Doc Mercy and you've turned the quest in, you'll receive Doc Mercy's E-Tech Assault Rifle. Dr. Zed requests that you kill a number of bandits with this E-Tech weapon. Now, at first glance, you would think that this particular quest was pretty simple. However, the problem is that E-Tech assault rifles are terrible, and unlike the vast majority of E-Tech assault rifles you can normally acquire, this one doesn't come in any element. Plus, E-Tech assault rifles have lousy critical hit bonus, and also consume twice as much ammo as a regular assault rifle, while only achieving about 2/3 the damage potential of your regular assault rifle. Plus, when you add in the fact that enemies on Ultimate Vault Hunter mode can regenerate their health constantly, you're going to find that you're barely dealing any damage, you're losing a ridiculous amount of ammo in the process, and whatever damage you've dealt is being completely healed. What is nice, or bad, depending on your difficulty, is that you get your hands on an E-Tech Spiker as a quest reward. Now in normal mode, Spiker and Dart Pistols are actually pretty decent. While it does take a while for them to deal damage, the damage dealt is usually pretty high. However, in Ultimate Vault Hunter mode, because these guns can't crit, they're going to be automatically inferior to most other weapons you can acquire. So maybe complete this quest on normal mode, otherwise, don't bother. Number 5. Mighty Morphin. Oh god, how I wish it wasn't Morphin time. Maybe it's just me, but I really hate this quest. On normal, true, and ultimate Vault Hunter mode, this quest can prove to be fairly difficult, and the rewards you receive upon its completion aren't necessarily worth it. So, Mighty Morphin involves talking to Sir Hammerlock in Sanctuary, and he gives you the evolutionary injector. What you're supposed to do is go to Tundra Express, or wherever Varkids are found, and as soon as you observe a Varkid entering its larval transformation, you're supposed to quickly walk up and inject the pod with the evolutionary injector. After that, you have to observe the transformation and then kill the Varkid that spawns as a result of the injector. Once the Varkid is killed, you're supposed to retrieve the sample. And you have to do this 5 times if you include the very first time that you do it. Now, from what I'm describing, this may not sound that hard. However, mutated badass Varkids that spawn from doing this are fairly strong, and they have a lot of health, and it's very easy to go down while fighting them. To give you some idea, the mutated badass Varkid is slightly above the regular badass Varkid in terms of strength. However, it's a little bit slower than a badass Varkid. Now, Mighty Morphin's rewards for completion aren't particularly impressive. You just get a generic green rarity SMG that might be useful in normal mode. And I can assure you that the green SMG you receive isn't going to be useful in Ultimate Vault Hunter mode. At the very least, I guess you do get some experience and some money upon completing this quest. It's just whatever you do, don't spawn multiple mutated Varkids, unless you really want a challenge. But then again, if you're playing as Grog Heralding Salvador, it's probably going to be pretty easy. Number 4. Critical Fail. Critical Fail has got to be one of the most frustrating side quests that you can complete as a part of the Dragon Keep DLC. While it isn't particularly hard or anything, it's aggravating, and if you're playing on single player, it will result in at least 1 death. This is because this quest is presented as being as simple as just going to a specific location and picking up the gun. However, the very first time you pick up the gun, it will simply fly away to another location. After that, you go to the new location and you're hit with an attack that instantly puts you into fight for your life. On single player, this will kill you and will result in you respawning with lost funds. Regardless, the gun flies away to another location where it transforms into an orc that you have to kill, and once the orc goes down, the orc transforms back into the weapon you were chasing, and picking up the gun completes the quest. If you complete Critical Fail, you will receive a weapon known as the Crit. At first glance, it would appear that this is a fantastic weapon, as it has both great stats, and like all other Moxie weapons, it heals the player for a portion of the damage that it deals. However, the problem is that this weapon will occasionally drop out of the player's hands while it's being reloaded. So not only do you have to complete a quest that's pretty frustrating and involves literally getting killed in the process, but the weapon that you receive is unreliable and will randomly fall out of your hands as you are using it. This quest is just one big disappointment because if the crit didn't randomly drop while reloading, it might actually be on par with some legendary SMGs that the player can acquire. Number 3. Arms dealing, customer service, and neither rain nor sleet nor SKAGS. All 3 of these missions are lame and involve retrieving or delivering items from point A to point B. You don't get any good unique weapons for completing any of these quests. All you really get is some experience points as well as some generic green or blue rarity weapons. Of the 3 quests, I would say that arms dealing is the most difficult. From there, it's going to be neither rain nor sleet nor SKAGS, followed by customer service. This is mostly because neither rain nor sleet's deliveries take place in a relatively contained area, while customer service gives you a ridiculous amount of time to retrieve each individual refund. To give you some idea, customer service provides 3 minutes per retrieval. Neither rain nor sleet nor SKAGS provides 15 seconds per delivery, while arms dealing only provides you with 30 seconds. The other issue with arms dealing is that it covers a wide area with hostile enemies, and after each delivery is completed, you still have to return to Overlook to turn the quest in to the bounty board. Therefore, of the 3, arms dealing is definitely the hardest. What's nice is that you do get some experience points, and you have the chance of receiving a brand new weapon, relic, or grenade mod, depending on which one you choose. Now, none of the weapons or equipment you're going to receive are going to be significantly better than any of the weapons you may already have, but at least it's something. If you decide to do either of these 3 quests, complete neither Rain nor Sleet nor Skags and Customer Service, as they are significantly easier than arms dealing is. As for arms dealing, don't even do it, as it's not really worth it. Number 2, Walking the Dog. So Torg's Campaign of Carnage was a pretty good DLC overall. We got Pyro Pete, who is one of the easiest raid bosses to repeatedly farm for legendaries and pearlescent weapons, and we even got some decent weapons like the Slow Hand, the Kitten, and some of the Seraph items are pretty decent too. However, Torg's DLC has one of the most frustrating side quests in the entire game, and that's called Walking the Dog. So, Walking the Dog consists of helping Tiny Tina walk her fire skag across Badass Crater. This doesn't sound too bad at first, however it's incredibly difficult because you have to be careful not to damage Enrique the fire skag, but you also have to defend him from various groups of attacking bandits on motorbikes. The other issue with this quest is that despite Enrique's size, he doesn't have very much health. Enrique goes down very easily, and it's pretty safe to say that if you go in to fight for your life during this quest, Enrique is going to get killed and you will have to restart. What's also pretty bad about this quest is that the quest reward weapon that you receive is a grenade assault rifle called the Boom Puppy. The Boom Puppy is essentially the Rolling Thunder in gun form, and for those of you that are unfamiliar with the Rolling Thunder, when thrown, it bounces like a rubberized grenade, and it explodes as it bounces. And think of this as sort of being like how stones can skip water, except instead of a splash, you're getting an explosion. Of course, this projectile path makes the Boom Puppy extremely difficult to use. You will very rarely be able to put enemies in positions where the grenades can hit multiple times. In fact, I would say that you're more likely to miss with this particular weapon than you are to hit anything. Overall though, this quest sucks because it's hard to complete and you get a fairly lousy weapon for completing it. If you want my opinion, this is a quest you will want to avoid. Number 1. Grandma Flexington's Story. Regular and Raid difficulty. What a boatload of ass! So this side quest, or should I say group of side quests, has to be literally one of the worst side quests from any DLC for Borderlands 2. Of course, that's probably not that weird considering that Grandma Flexington's Story is a part of one of the least popular DLCs among the Borderlands community, The Horrible Hunger of the Ravenous Wattle Gobbler. For the uninitiated, this quest involves hearing a ridiculously long story from Torg's grandma, Grandma Flexington. During the story, she will ask you a couple of questions, which if answered incorrectly, it will result in failing the quest and then having to start all over again. Now, on the one hand, this quest isn't really that hard, it's just a very long story. I would say the worst part of the regular version of this quest is that you only receive $1. That's right, you literally only receive $1 in-game dollar for answering all of the questions properly. Of all of the side quests in this game, Grandma Flexington's Story may have one of the worst rewards out of all of them. The raid difficulty version is a little bit better as you do get a Torg rocket launcher, but honestly, I don't want to sit through 30 minutes of doing that. Both of these quests sorta suck though. Even if you manage to complete both, you can't fight a harder version of the Wattle Gobbler. So there isn't really any reason why you'd want to take the time to actually complete this. As I said earlier, you can start these quests as soon as you complete the main story for the Wattle Gobbler DLC. Once you do, you can start the regular version, and if you complete that, you can start the raid difficulty version. Alright guys, that's going to wrap up this particular video. If you like this video, please be sure to leave a like and let me know. What do you think is the worst side quest or side mission in Borderlands 2? And actually, you could also tell me what you think the worst main missions are as well. Leave that in the comments, but as always, take care, and I'll see y'all next time.